Housing TV Africa, your first in housing news.
Hello and welcome. Here is the news update on Housing TV Africa. I am Emina Bagudu. Let's take a quick look at the headlines. FCTA issues quick notice to unauthorized traders in Gwarimpa. Enugu government forms committee on property and land reconciliation. Cement price increases by 30%, reaches 6,500 naira per bag. Now the news in details. The Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCTA, acting through the Department of Development Control, has formally issued a quick notice on Yakaswa Market along the N16 road corridor in Gwarimpa. Clearance operations are scheduled to initiate on Thursday, making a decisive action in accordance with regulatory measures. The director of the department, Mukhtar Galadima, issued the directive in a meeting with stakeholders, which included representatives from the Traders Union. He emphasized that the contract for the comprehensive department of the arterial road had already been awarded by the FCT administration. He stated that the contractors have been in discussions with the traders since last September, adding that the traders consistently requested more time, a situation he asserted could no longer be accommodated. The Enugu state government has established a standing committee for property, land reconciliation and compensation. The committee is tasked with the responsibilities of scrutinizing title documents, construction approvals, instances of double and wrongfully allocations, and certificates of occupancy duplication. Additionally, it will assess compensations related to government-acquired land, among other designated functions. The state residents applaud the timely and commendable move by Governor Peter Mba, expressing optimism in the restoration of hope, justice, the confidence in the government. Governor Umba, during the committee's inauguration in Enugu over the weekend, emphasized the importance of resolute, fair and transparent conduct, highlighting the committee members' selection criteria based on their experiences and integrity. The governor, represented by Secretary to the state government and committee chairman Professor Chidebere Onya, emphasized strict adherence to the committee's terms of reference, stressing the importance of procedures reflecting integrity, accountability, traceability, transparency and fairness. He underscored the need for these principles to apply universally irrespective of the party's status. In a turn of events, the price of cement has witnessed a significant increase of 30% by producers, raising concerns for those aspiring to achieve lower construction costs in realizing their dream of home ownership. The sudden spike observed just last week has set off a chain reaction in the open market, with prices experiencing a staggering surge within a matter of days. The repercussions are already evident as some property developers have taken drastic measures, putting construction activities on hold and reevaluating off-plan sales, while others are actively seeking variation in existing contracts. Investigations revealed that members of the Cement Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, CMAN, collectively increased prices by over 1,000 naira per bag. This translated to retail prices rocketing from 5,000 naira to 6,200 naira or more in Lagos and the southwest, and hitting 6,500 or beyond in the southeast and Abuja. With that, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
This is Housing TV Africa on YouTube and click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to Housing TV Africa to stay updated on latest happenings in Nigeria's housing sector. Follow our social media pages, like and share our posts. On Facebook, Housing TV Africa. On Twitter, Housing TV Africa. Instagram, Housing TV Africa. Join the conversation and keep up with latest housing updates.
Welcome back. The General Manager of Oyo State Fire Service, Yemi Akinyinka, on Sunday reported that a midnight fire incident in Ibadan, the state capital, impacted a total of 24 shops at Sango Market. In a statement to newsmen in Ibadan, Akinyinka disclosed that no lives were lost in the midnight fire incident, adding that the cause of the fire incident could not be ascertained. He assured that firefighters have successfully brought the situation under control. According to an eyewitness, the probable cause of the incident could be traced back to an electric spark. The incident resulted to the loss of goods valued at millions of naira. Affected shop owners conveyed their challenges, expressing the need to rebuild their shops and businesses. They appealed to the government and other compassionate Nigerians for assistance during the challenging time. The federal government has assured residents of the oil-populated Niger Delta that its mangrove restoration initiative is designed to address climate change in the region. Minister of State Environment Dr. Isiaq Salako disclosed this commitment during his tour of remediation sites and the Center of Excellence in Wiakara, Ghana Council of Rivers State, constructed by the Hydrocarbon Population Remediation Project under the Environment Ministry. As part of his dedication to promoting a green environment, he took the opportunity to plant 10 trees at Birabi Grammar School in Buri. He noted that Nigeria and Africa can mitigate climate change issues arising from the technology and development by embracing nature. Emphasizing the aftermath of years of environmental population due to oil exploration, he underscored the need for the federal government to sustain shoreline protection and mangrove restoration projects. To end the news, here is a recap of the major stories. The Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCDA, through the Department of Development Control, has issued a quick notice to the Yerkasua market along the N16 road corridor in Gwarimpa. The Enugu State Government has constituted a committee to handle property, land reconciliation and compensation, covering tasks such as scrutinizing title documents, addressing wrongful allocations, and evaluating compensations for government-acquired lands. We also told you that cement prices have unexpectedly increased by 30%, causing worries for individuals aiming for affordable construction and home ownership. For more news in the housing sector, just subscribe to our YouTube channel, Housing TV Africa. You can also follow us on all of our social media platforms. I am Imana Bagudu. Thanks for watching.
Housing TV Africa, your first in housing development broadcasting.
Housing TV Africa, your first in housing news.
Housing TV Africa, your first in housing development broadcasting.
Hello and welcome to House and Health on Housing TV Africa, where we explore the crucial link between our living spaces and well-being. I am Cassandra Yunumbe. Today, we will delve into a crucial aspect of housing that often goes unnoticed but plays a significant role in public health. Specifically, we will explore how proper ventilation in our living spaces can contribute to the prevention of diseases like tuberculosis. To comprehend the urgency of our topic today, let's take a quick look at some eye-opening statistics. According to World Health Organization, WHO, tuberculosis remains a major global health concern. In 2022, an estimated 10.6 million people fell ill with TB worldwide, including 5.8 million men, 3.5 million women, and 1.3 million children. This disease is the second leading infectious killer after COVID-19. Let's be clear, this information on TB is not intended to instill fear, but rather raise awareness. It's a call to action to safeguard our living spaces and value our health. We will be back after this break. Welcome back to House and Health. Ventilation is undeniably crucial in maintaining quality air. It's about keeping the air in a space circulating and fresh. What happens when our homes are overcrowded or when we neglect the importance of spacious living areas? Overcrowding is a significant challenge that affects ventilation. It not only affects the comfort of living, but also poses serious health risks and diseases like tuberculosis. The air we breathe is a vital factor in our well-being, and today we are going to explore how ventilation plays a pivotal role in preventing tuberculosis and ensuring a healthier future for all of us. Overcrowded spaces often lack adequate airflow, making them breeding grounds for airborne pathogens. A visit to a community in Pape, FCT, gave us first-hand glimpse into the living conditions that can impact our health. I found that some people knew that living in such tight spaces could affect their health. On the other hand, there were people who didn't realize how much their crowded living conditions could impact their health. Having a chat with them made it clear that there is a need to educate people to understand how overcrowding can affect their well-being. Please take a watch.
Living in this environment has impacted my life both positively and negatively. There are kind of things I've done that ordinarily, if I'm not living in this kind of environment, I would not have done. But majorly, I think it has impacted me positively. Just like the saying goes, that the real education comes from the street. You know, Papi is a ghetto, you understand? Sincerely speaking, no negativity that is with relation to my health. I can tell you, people living in Papi, I think people living in Papi, if they are to complain about disease, it will still be applicable to. It's just normal disease that everybody suffer. You know, even people living in Maitama. You talk about malaria, people living in Maitama, even people in abroad, they suffer malaria, they suffer typhoid. So Pape is not an exception. So there is no, you can't really say, okay, case of tuberculosis because the area is not very clean, and then you kind of suffer illnesses that does not have a name. I will quickly tell you that it is not, such case is not similar with that of Mpape. So when people tell you that Mpape this, Mpape that, I will beg to disagree. That whatever we suffer in Mpape, people in Maitama also suffer the same. Whatever we suffer in Mpape, people in Kubwa, people in mega Abuja cities suffer the same. I think we are good. Yes, living in Mpape has been like fine, health-wise. Yes, we've been good.
The environment is very, very okay. And if you want to live with Mpape, it's only you avoid the water. Our program in Mpape here, we don't have good water to drink. The environment is very okay.
Okay, so you've never fallen sick. How long have you been living in Mpape and how has it been like? Like you've never fallen sick or anything?
I've never fallen sick. I know it's not because of the environment of Mpape. I know that is the handwork of Almighty God, you understand? It's not because of the environment or me living in Mpape. It's the work of Almighty God for me. For the past many years, I'm not been in hospital. So I'm not a sick type.
Living condition in this area, honestly, is not that excellent per se. And I've lived in this Mpape for about 20 years now, and by God's grace, we have adapted to the environment, and it has not been causing any health issues to me or my family. But like in the environment, you don't have adequate amenities. Even drainage, you can even see it for yourself. No proper drainage, no proper water channeling. You've got mosquitoes disturbing in the environment. But when you live in the environment, you adapt to it. That's just one thing I understand about the living condition here.
Taking cues from our visit to Mpape, it becomes clear that there is a pressing need to raise awareness. After this break, we will bring you expert interview.
My name is Biola Akiola.
My name is Miriam Lawa from Macro Homes Nigeria Limited.
Hey people, this is Town Planner Bello Oluwayinka.
My name is Akintoye Adeoye, the incoming president of Redan.
Hello everyone, my name is Mayowa Okwedari. Keep watching Housing TV Africa.
Keep watching Housing TV Africa.
Keep watching Housing TV Africa.
Shout out to Housing TV Africa, channel 149.
Keep enjoying Housing TV Africa on channel 149, Star Times.
Keep watching Housing TV. If you want to know much about what is happening in the built environment, housing related, land related issues, this is the place to go.
They are the best.
Welcome back. Joining us now on Housing Health will be Dr. Abu Michael, a medical officer. We shall hear his expert insights on how our living spaces connect to our health and practical steps we can take.
Okay, my name is Dr. Abu Michael Ochoechi. And then tuberculosis is a highly infectious disease. It's an airborne disease, meaning spread via the air, through the air. Now, it is caused by a microbacterium called Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Now, this bacteria primarily affects the lungs, but it can also affect other parts of the body, like the kidney, the spine, and the brain. As I said, it's an airborne disease. It spreads through the air. Like it gets into the air when an infected person coughs or sneezes. So when that happens, the bacteria suspend into the air. Now just imagine that in an environment that's overcrowded and people are many there. Once you inhale that organism from the air, you can easily contact it and it begins to develop in your system. Okay. So when we talk about overcrowdedness, we talk about poor ventilation. Overcrowdedness and poor ventilation go hand in hand. Right. Now the rate of ventilation is directly proportional to the rate of tuberculosis spread. Now, if you are living in an environment that has poor ventilation, the rate of spread of tuberculosis will be down. But if the environment has poor ventilation, the rate of spread of tuberculosis will be on the increase. And as I said, tuberculosis is a very important topic that we need to discuss because it contributes to 10% of death every year. Like in Nigeria, it contributes to about 240,000 deaths every year, and every year about 600,000 persons get infected with TB. Of these 600,000 people, 140,000 of them are HIV positive. Now, TB and HIV have another relationship because once the person comes down with the TB, the immune system drops. And when somebody comes down with HIV, the immune system drops. And when the immune system drops, the person becomes susceptible to any small infection and the person comes down. So TB burden is a topic to be discussed, and overcrowding also contributes. People living in highly overcrowded areas like that, especially in most of the time rural settings, as I said, in the prison you see people in high numbers too. And also with the rate of urbanization, you see people moving from the rural areas to the urban towns in order for greener pastures. And because of that, as you said, tuberculosis is spread through the air. So now you just get to someone who is infected just sneeze just harmlessly into the air. And because of the overcrowdedness, now when the ventilation is down, as I said, the bacteria that causes tuberculosis tend to thrive, and they can stay in a poorly ventilated area for a long time. So that's why it's good to ensure that the area is ventilated. Now, when people get compacted like that, it increases the rate of spread of tuberculosis and other upper respiratory tract infections that are transmitted through air. Nigerians, we don't usually have certain laws that guide these overcrowding situations. But if you go to places like UK, they will tell you that not more than one person should stay in a room unless you are a couple. So if more than one person stays in a room, it's already overcrowded. You understand? And so in such situations in Nigeria now, we can't control such situations like that in Nigeria. So overcrowdedness comes in. We see people living with their family, extended family, or everybody comes together like that. And most of the time, people sleep inside heat. You understand? And people even get to on their generator, and it extends pollution, those smokes into the houses and all. We've seen scenarios whereby some families, they wake up and they die because they inhale those smokes, and those smokes they are rich in carbon monoxide. That smoke itself, it contributes to the poor ventilation. And imagine that the environment is still overcrowded. So the air that people tend to breathe in such situation becomes down. So overcrowding, once an environment is overcrowded and the space is not even much for the number of persons that are occupying that area, so the air that is circulated around will try to be distributed among them. And if these people don't even get sufficient air in such kind of polluted environment, it also poses a menace to their health likewise. As you said, we can't control the rate of the overcrowdedness in the country, and can't control it. So people living in such areas should be educated. Like, you educate such persons. Now, if you want to sneeze, try and sneeze into a handkerchief. So if handkerchiefs are provided, tissues for people to sneeze inside, and if hand washing basins are provided where people can also wash their hands. Some people can just sneeze into their hands, and as I said, it's airborne. It's also via droplets. So just imagine that somebody who sneezes into the hand and shakes you, and you use that hand to touch your mouth. You understand? It can also pose a challenge to you. There was even a situation whereby bankers it got to the point where bankers they start coming down with tuberculosis. So they were now wondering, not knowing that most of these market women, once they count money with their spit and all, this money gets to the bank, and the bankers they count it and they touch their surfaces, they touch their mouth and all, and they come down with tuberculosis. But when such was discovered, with sanitizers and all, regular hand washing, it helps to bring to control the level of that tuberculosis. And also eating healthy diet. Now, once you eat healthy diet, it boosts your immune system. And once your immune system is high, it will not easily come down, even if you inhale it. Sometimes once you inhale it, sometimes it gets clear. It undergoes 3 stages. It can get clear. In some situations, it can be latent. Latent means it's not active, it's passive. Then it can now become active infection. So in some situations, it can just enter and be clear. Some situations, it can be latent. At that stage now, the person can be transmitting. The person is not coming down with any active infection. Then the active infection. So all these things I've mentioned. Now, if you can regular hand washing, sneezing into your handkerchief, then proper waste disposal, these things are created for disposing all these things, and then eating healthy diet. And also, if all these things are in place, the rate of TB spread will be down in such environments. Yes, as I said earlier on, I said the rural area, those in the rural areas, those in prisons, even in schools. You understand, in schools like all these daycares and all these places where children come together and all. So somebody with the infection can come and just ensure and come, and everybody is being infected. So in such places now you discover that people build houses anyhow. You understand, there is no plan. They just come, since there is no regulatory body around that area, they just build the house here, build the house here, build the house here. No proper means of drainage. You understand, the place is just overcrowded, no ventilation and all. So because of those kind of practices, we discover that TB is tuberculosis is very high in such areas. So if situations can be created whereby before you build a house, you understand, the relevant body can come and inspect the area and be sure that okay, this area is conducive for you to build, and give you the plan, and okay, this is the house I want to build and all. So if such plans are being mapped out, you understand, to some extent overcrowding will be brought to the various minimum. Like I said, in UK, there are houses whereby not more than 4 persons can live in that place. So let's assume a family of 4. Once your number increases, you have to relocate to a higher distance. So by so doing now, you discover that they are living in a well ventilated area. So tuberculosis spreading at the various minimum. So basically, and what we'll be discussing so far is ventilation and TB spread. So from my last question, from the last question I answered, so people should build houses as authorized by the appropriate body, not just anyhow. You understand, that can reduce the number of that can reduce overcrowdedness and also improve ventilation. So if family planning can be introduced and people can be encouraged to practice it, we discover that overcrowding will be down, ventilation will be up. So another thing is that you should consider, in such environment, consider everybody infected with TB until proven otherwise. So when you have that mindset, you tend to take certain precautions. And now the precautions are, we have what we call primordial, we have what we call primary, we have what we call tertiary, then we have what we call rehabilitation. So in the primordial, what is done there is enlightenment. Like you enlighten people. Look at, this is called TBO. This is how somebody can contact people. This is what you can do to prevent it. So when people are enlightened, you understand. You know, when you know, they say knowledge brings discovery, but wisdom brings recovery. When you know, and wisdom is application of what you know. So until you apply those things that have been stated, that's when it's going to work for you. So those are primordial, letting them know. Then we now come to primary prevention. So in such cases now, you see that some persons you want to vaccinate. You know, there's vaccines to prevent TB. You understand? It's given at birth, it's given at 6th week, 10th week, 14th week, and then about 15 to 18 months, the booster dose vaccines are given. So these vaccines now helps to boost your immunity as well. And there's something called contact tracing. Like contact tracing, in such situations now, certain persons who have been infected, you try to trace oh, where has this person gone to? This one. By so doing, you trace those persons that will be infected. By so doing, you can get those persons out and also treat them. Then we have secondly. Now, in such cases, now these people they've already been infected, so you try to give them anti-TB medications. It will help to stop it as well. Then we have tertiary and we have rehabilitation. In terms of rehabilitation, now, as I said, TB does not just affect the lung; it can affect the spine. When it affects the spine, it causes what is called post disease. It can also affect the brain. So in such cases, now you try to manage those complications. So when people get enlightened about the method of preventing, they say prevention is better than cure. So once you know that these are the things I should do to prevent this, and you engage in them actively, because anything you do to prevent tuberculosis and improve ventilation, TB will be down. So the government has a very huge role to play. Okay, now government can decide to housing policies, can build houses like 10,000 homes, you understand, and make it available to people at affordable rates. And these houses, they are built in patterns and in such a way that the ventilation is adequate. You understand? Government can engage in housing policies like all these homes, and it will take a lot of persons. Once it's subsidized, take a lot of persons from the street and mount them in such places. It will help to control the rate of TB. And also, now somebody who has already come down with TB and the government makes these anti-TB drugs subsidized for them. You understand? If the drugs are subsidized for them, they will take the drugs, and if they get cleared, they will get off the distance. But if those drugs are not subsidized and they are expensive and they are sold, people cannot access them. And the more they don't access and take these drugs, the more the TB keeps multiplying and they keep infecting others. So these are policies that the government can put in place to help to keep this overcrowded in check, and also TB on the low. Okay, in conclusion, as I said, the rate of tuberculosis deaths is on the increase. And in Nigeria alone, Nigeria ranks sixth in the world. Globally, Nigeria ranks sixth in the world, behind China and India. These are Bangladesh. These are highly populated areas. So when it comes to TB, Nigeria ranks. So that means the TB burden in Nigeria is very, very high. So now, overcrowding contributes immensely to this. So if the government can ensure housing policies, and we can stick to, there are things that we can stick to, hand washing, and ensure that you don't cough into the air, you cough into your hanky. Just assume that everybody has TB on the road. Otherwise, social distancing, not all the time. Like you try to maintain safe distance. When you see somebody who is actively coughing, try to maintain a safe distance. In such a way, you can prevent it. And also people who live now, ventilation, as I said, in a room, you see like 5 persons in a room and there's no light, heat and everything. So that air is already saturated, and it creates an environment for this bacteria to breed. You understand? So proper ventilation is key to tuberculosis prevention.
As we conclude today's episode, remember that proper ventilation is not just a matter of comfort. It's a crucial factor in maintaining a healthy living environment. My visit to overcrowded houses and the insights from Dr. Abu Makel highlights the urgency of addressing ventilation issues. It's not just about recognizing the issues, it's about taking action and raising awareness. Thank you for joining us on House and House. I am Cassandra Yunumbe, signing off. Until next time, stay healthy, breathe easy, and make sure your living spaces support your well-being. Keep watching Housing TV on channel 139 on Star Times.
Housing TV Africa, your first in housing development broadcasting.
decision to move the capital city to the Federal Capital Territory by the military administration under General Ibrahim Babangida seems to be fast bringing a burden on civil servants working in the capital city. This is because majority of civil servants who work and live in the capital city and outskirts of Abuja are complaining over the rent obligation they have to meet every 12 months, and this is affecting their efficiency at work and inadvertently slowing down government business. Housing Development went around the capital city to feel the pulse of Abuja citizens on the matter, and some of the respondents lamented, amongst other things, the absence of regulation to curb the excesses of landlords who seem to be operating without any human face. Abdullahi Anas is a civil servant who lives in Kubwa.
As a civil servant, federal civil servant here in Abuja, with the salary and what they are giving us as a house rent is very, very high. It's not nothing to write home about.
Adebayo Julius, in his comments, berated landlords in Abuja for failing to have a human face to see what tenants face yearly.
It's quite unfortunate that even we, the downtrodden, we are not helping ourselves, especially the landlord. I don't know, maybe because of the law attached to their name that made them to be misbehaving. Do you imagine that even despite the lockdown, some landlord will still be putting call across to you, still reminding you that your rent has expired? You stand? I don't know whether blood no longer runs in our vein. You stand? That will not make you to have human sympathy when it's come to house rent. Or better, like I said earlier, or because of the Lord attached to their name, landlord, that made them to be misbehaving.
The case of Linus Njoku, who lives in Maraba, Nasarawa State, and has to commute daily to work in the heart of the capital city, simply fits the experiences of civil servants and other Abuja residents, who in their majority have set their sights on small towns like Maraba, Masaka, and Suleja because they cannot afford rent in the capital city. His words: coping with the payment of house rent is a terrible situation for the country.
In the first instance, every citizen of the country is supposed to own his own house. But unfortunately, because of the way things are, many of us have not been able to attain that stage. Then on the house rent itself, why I say it's a terrible situation is the landlords are not they are not being forced to regulate the house rent or the amount that's supposed to be charged on a particular type of house or a particular side of the country. So if government is fully in control, we expected that government by now should have been able to say or to make a law. Houses in this part of the country should be, this is how much they should regulate, how much the landlord should be collecting. I know that building materials are too expensive and the government is not giving the landlords money to build or refurbish their houses. But at the same time, in as much as we have government in place, a lot of things are supposed to be regulated.
Godon Atai, in his comment, said, rent in Asokoro is very high.
One needs to go extra mile to raise money to pay rent. A two-bedroom apartment can go as much as 2.5, 3 million, sometimes even 3.5 million. And if one is not really having a reasonable source of income, you cannot live there. It's unnecessarily high.
Blessed Karam, who lives in Asokoro Extension, also lamented thoughts.
House rent in Abuja is very, very outrageous, considering that Abuja is the administrative hub of Nigeria. One would expect that house rent in Nigeria in Abuja should be very, very considerate because most of the occupants of Abuja are civil servants. But to my greatest surprise, you see the house rent in Abuja is very, very outrageous that one can hardly afford. That's why you see people living in outskirts in Abuja instead of the Abuja city.
Housing TV Africa, your first in housing news.
I think road is one of the major challenges. Access road to and from the location where these properties are.
The amount these houses are being placed on, is outrageously expensive. And then when you look at these structures, they are not worth it. When you go in, you're not satisfied with the sizes of the rooms. They have very tiny rooms. There are tiny kitchens, tiny bathrooms, as in they can't even contain 2 people at once, like maybe the master's bedroom, for instance. Very tiny living room. So it's not even worth the amount. Okay, then another issue we face is the poor structures. You know, you can see a house that is, beautifully finished, but with time, they tend to wear out. Maybe during rainy season, you begin to notice that the walls are being soaked, and this affects mattresses, the clothes. And then these developers or the real estate people don't pay attention to the quality of materials they use in building these houses.
One of the observations that I make most times is the agents, because most time you may be able to raise money to get yourself a better home, but agents may also be a problem for you to get a house, because most time agents will deceive you when they don't have a particular place that you should bring a particular amount of money. After you releasing your money to them, at the end of the day, they will allocate a place that is not even good for you. And before you should discover, is to be already late. So most of all these agents, they are contributing. There are problems for us to get in a better home. I think I would opinion that if government can provide an agency, that all these agents should duly register with such agency, you understand? So if there is any challenge, you can easily allocate them, you can easily trace them. Because a lot of agents has run away with people money in the course of helping people to get a better home. And another challenge is infrastructural, bad roads. There are some places that the place that they will locate to you, the road is very bad. And most times there is no electricity. There are a lot of places that there is no light. There is no light. You may like the place because of maybe the place is affordable. But if you talk about the infrastructure, there is no light. And when there is no light, it makes life very, very difficult to people. And it also warrants theft.
First and foremost, you face the issue of the developer buying cheap materials. As a result, these materials don't last. Sometimes you discover that the paints or the bricks they use, they are cheap, very, very low quality base. So you end up spending so much and getting very little for, in return. Then another issue you face is sometimes the houses are built on flooded areas. During the dry season, you will not know that the place is flooded. It's when the rain season now comes, you now discover that that place was a very, very bad idea. Then the standard of the house. Maybe you discover you are used to big rooms. You discover that the place that have been built for you, the house is rather too small and the rooms are too small, and they are not the ideal kind of rooms that you would like to have.
One is the road network. Two, the purchasing power of owning a house in Nigeria in these present realities. When I said about the purchasing power, the Naira rate, the value of a Naira is not as powerful as it is like 8-10 years ago. So now by the time you check, maybe before what you earn in a month and your mortgage, we don't know. Growing back then, I knew of I think Nigeria Mortgage Bank, giving loans for houses, and many of the people, many of the workers, both in private and the public sectors, many of them don't have access to this loan. Even if they want to have access, there are a lot of bureaucratic bottlenecks for you to have access. So I think that's another major challenges.
First, I'm going to start from the builders using low quality materials to build their houses, because most times they just go for cheap materials to build the houses. They don't use superior materials that will last long. So that's one of the problems. Another one is bad road network. You may want a house in a particular area, and then the road that leads to that area is so bad So that could be a problem. And the developers, most times, they don't wish to construct the road that leads to the area where they want to build. So there are many interests just to build the house for people to buy. They don't consider how good the road is to the place where the houses are. Then another thing is flexible payment method. I don't know how that is, how that works, but I feel that the mode of payment should be made more flexible, where people can pay, instrumentally.
Housing TV Africa, your first in housing development broadcasting.